When you guys get doing the ballpark tour, do you figure that'll probably change?
I imagine I'll end up sleeping in a little bit by the time, once we get back on the road, and sleeping on a bus is not as easy as it may seem. So you just kind of got to sleep when you can when you're on tour.
You got anywhere where you fell asleep that was really odd, where people were like, "I can't believe you fell asleep there."
Man, we flew the first time we went overseas and we played the C2C festival in London. We were so tired and jet lagged, and I put together these bar stools. There were like three or four bar stools backstage, and I scooted them all together, and there was a towel there, and I put this towel on there and laid across these bar stools and passed out. And they woke me up and said, "Hey, you got to go on stage. It's time to go." And I had this like towel print like on my face for the first half of the show. You got to sleep where you can, man.
You got the new single. I was on a boat that day. Did I read correctly? You guys almost didn't record that song.
Well, it's taken us a really long time to write it. I mean, it was a joke at one point. It was sort of a joke title. We started writing it probably 8 years ago when we were writing Break Up With Him, actually. So it's been kicking around in our camp for quite a while, and we never really wrote it. So, like I said, it sort of became a joke. But then one day we brought it up and we're like, Let's actually try and write this song. And maybe it's not a joke." And turns out, we just had fun with it, and it turns out people are really enjoying it. So it's awesome.
Is there a moment where you know you're onto something, or someone in the band? There's someone that you kind of look to be like, if he's feeling it, I know we got something here.
There was a moment with that song where in the morning we were talking about writing it. We were in the studio, and it was all of us in the band, and Shane McAnally, our producer, was there, and our friend Josh Osborne, who's a co-writer, was there. And we started talking about this idea and what it could be, and we were like, "Yeah, I think we're onto something here. Let's dig into this." So we made the decision to write it, and I went to the bathroom and came back, and they were all going, "The river was rolling, I was getting my float on," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, we are definitely on something now," So that was the moment for me where I was like, "This is going to be great."
Now, aside from the obvious place to listen to it, if I was going to put this song on and it's the perfect scenario to hear this song, other than being on a boat, what would it be?
Other than being on a boat.
Yeah, where would we be? What's it smell like? What's the weather like? What's the perfect scenario to hear?
Man, I think anytime you can just have the breeze going, if you can roll your windows down and in the sunshine, it doesn't have to be on a boat, but to me, that's what makes a great song is when you're just driving around and it changes your environment. It either lifts your spirit or changes the way things feel. That's what, to me, this song, when it comes on, things just get brighter. So I think if you could just roll your windows down and pretend you're on a boat, then you're good.
Well, the world could definitely use a little more brightness these days. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
right.
Um, the other question I have, because before you became who you are now, you're a really successful songwriter. What was your favorite song that you wrote for another artist?
Oh man, it's tough. I mean, the when we wrote "Say You Do" for Dirks Bentley, that was one that even when we wrote the song, I knew we had done something different. It felt like a different level for me as a writer. I remember texting Shane and Trevor and said, "I don't know what we just did, but we did something big." And you could just tell. And so that was my first number one song. So that one will always be special.
Is there any really strange place that inspiration has struck for a song?
Um, I got the idea for Save It for a Rainy Day in the shower. I knew that I had a write that morning at 9 in the morning with Brad and our friend Andrew Dorf, and I knew we only were writing for 2 hours, and I didn't have any ideas, and so I was like in the shower trying to think of something, and I had that title idea, and actually sang the whole chorus down on the way to the right, and walked in the room and said, "What do you guys think about this?" And they were like, what's wrong with that? Let's go." And so we wrote that song in about 45 minutes.
So you just hung on to the idea while you were getting out of the shower. You didn't have to write it down anywhere; it just stuck, and
Uh,
then you.
yeah.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, yeah. And recently I just for the first time wrote a song that I dreamt. I've never done that before, but I dreamt it and woke up and wrote it down, wrote the basic idea down and went in to my right that day and we wrote the song. So
And is
never
that
know.
one that we've heard yet, or is that one
You
still
haven't
coming?
heard it yet. No, it's brand new. It's but yeah, it's just like a week old. So
What's the strangest thing you've ever seen pop up online about you, whether it was true or not?
oh well, I will say the back in the early days, this gets a little risque, but um, there's a guy who is a porn star who has my name as well, and he's a gay porn star, and lots of times people would be looking for him, but they would find me, or vice versa. So that was always an interesting message to get.
And did you ever consider like maybe I should change my name or reaching out to him to say, hey, listen, change your name for me, would you?
Well, that's yes, quite honestly, that's why, I mean, I've grown up being called Matt and Matthew my whole life from different people, and he was Matt. And so as we started to have success as a band, Matthew was the one that I went with because it's at least a little different.
Big brain there.
Yeah, yeah.
A couple of fun questions before we wrap up here. With the single, I was on a boat that day. If you were to name a boat, what would you name it?
I have a boat and it's not on it yet, but it is unofficially named Lake It Sweet.
Ooh, that's a good. Did you come up with that?
That's how I have to give my credit to my kids for that.
Oh,
So
aside from the fans, because that's going to be the easy answer to this question. Aside from fans and the people, what do you miss most about not being in Canada for quite a while?
man, I mean the shows were I mean I know that's sort of loosely the fans, but the shows up there are so much fun, and it is cool whenever we get to just drive across the countryside up there. There's such beautiful places up there that I just miss the world, seeing the world and all the different you know cultures that we have been fortunate enough to come across through music. So yeah, we miss going up there.
Is there one country that you kind of wish you could book a date in that you haven't hit yet?
Um, we haven't been to like Asia yet. I would love to kind of get over there a little bit, but we've been through Europe a good bit, but never, and we've been to Australia, but haven't been into the Asian countries. So I would like to do that.
You got to do Japan.
Yeah,
I love it. Everyone I know who has ever been loves it. So you
yeah,
got to book a date in Tokyo or something like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that. Last question. What's the coolest thing you own?
Coolest thing I
And
own.
you can't say anything living because people will try and pick their pets, their kids, their spouse.
Right, right.
Yeah. And you can't say your boat because we already talked about that.
Right. I'm gonna say it's this place I'm sitting in right now. It's a little cabin on the lake, and it's just a little local escape. So I love it here. It's beautiful and quiet. I'm gonna say this is probably it.
That's all I got for you. I really appreciate you taking the time. I love the new single. Can't wait till we can finally see us in person again. Hopefully, fingers crossed, the Canadian border will open
Yeah,
sooner than later.
absolutely, absolutely. Can't wait to get back up there, man.
Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, good talking to you.
Good chatting with you too.